He's won this event 5 times. It has been 5 years since he competed over this quarter-mile racing surface. He is considered the innovator of the sport, given credit for creating the first workable rear-engine top-fuel dragster. His name, Don Garlits. He hails from the state of Florida, and his fans, they are legion, and they call him Big Daddy. Big Daddy Don Garlits returning to competition at Indianapolis Raceway Park and the U.S. Nationals for the first time in 5 years, holds top speed of the meet at over 261 miles an hour. In this second round race, he will be competing against Haight of Pomona, California. Earlier this morning, Steve had a chance to talk to Big Daddy Don Garlits about his return to NHRA competition and to Indianapolis Raceway Park.
Well, Don, after a 5-year absence, you returned to the U.S. Nationals here at Indianapolis, and you didn't come to just play. 261 miles an hour got their attention.
Well, we came here with the intention of winning the race. You know, of course, anything can happen in a race, but I mean, we wasn't here just for the beer.
Garlits and Malone. I haven't said that for 25 years. 59 or 60 the last time you two teamed up.
That's true. It has. It's the 25-year anniversary. Malone called me on the phone, and he says, you know, I'd like to go to Indy. Are you going to Indy? I said, no, you know, it costs so much money. He says, well, how about if I sponsor you to Indy? And I said, that's the greatest news I've heard in a long time. Let's do it.
Garlits teaming up with his longtime partner and friend Art Malone for this venture into U.S. Nationals competition. In round number 2, he's racing against Haight. 261 miles an hour already to the credit of Big Daddy Don Garlits. Haight, with his work cut out for him, racing one of the true legends in the sport of championship drag racing. It's Garlits off the mark first. He's got a big lead right off the starting line, and at the finish, he extends it. The elapsed time for Garlits, 5.61 seconds. His speed, a slowing 234 miles an hour. And again, it appears to be some engine problems for Garlits. There's lots of work for them back in the pits, the Garlits and Malone team. Our next pair in top fuel competition finds Dick LaHaye from Lansing, Michigan, getting set to do his burnout. Those tires, nearly 18 inches wide, grow in height by some 6 inches as they spin in the water, the smoke coming off of them indicating they're burning. LaHaye will be racing the upset winner in round number 1. That is the team owner of the All-Star Racing Team, Larry Miner from San Jacinto, California. Dick LaHaye, a serious racer from the Midwest, actually has the qualifying advantage over his competition, Larry Miner. In qualifying, Dick LaHaye moved into the number 5 spot, while the best Miner could muster was the number 9 position. But in the first round, remember, Miner was not intended to be to this point of competition. It was to have been his number 1 driver, Gary Beck, but mechanical troubles put him out. So now the boss, the team owner, has got to carry the standard of the All-Star Racing Team further in top fuel competition against LaHaye. Miner pulling out to the lead in the middle of the course, and at the finish line by a car length, it is Larry Miner with the win. 5.54 seconds elapsed time at over 244 miles an hour. Now let's go down and join Steve Evans with Don Garlits.
You certainly haven't lost a touch in the last 5 years. That's 2 down, Don.
Well, the car's running pretty good. She's a little loose on the top end, though. I guess, you know, the rain and everything. Engine come up twice, and I actually lifted a little early, so speed was probably down.
Spinning the tires towards the finish line?
Uh-huh, yeah.
Well, that parachute is sure lazy. We waited again holding our breath.
Well, you know, I was so rattled from the run before when I lost the wheel. I held onto the steering wheel for a while, because that's where the big jerk comes when the tire comes off. And I realized, heck, I'm holding onto this wheel. I should be letting this chute out.
Okay, we'll see you down here in round number 3. Don Garlits, Haight. And congratulations, Big Daddy.
Garlits making the power of old, actually spinning the tires at the finish line. Here's a man that Garlits raced in the early days of drag racing, another of the veterans of the sport, Connie Kalitta. His competition here in round number 2 of top fuel racing is Frank Bradley. Bradley, hailing from Napa, California, was the winner of the recent NHRA Summer Nationals. For Connie Kalitta, his career in drag racing goes back to his first ever NHRA championship win. That dated back to 1967. just as competitive today as he has ever been, and many people regard this 46-year-old veteran is at the peak of his career, driving better today than he has at any time in history. For Frank Bradley, he proved once again he has the combination to his top fuel dragster, qualifying on one pass through the quarter mile. The burnout procedures are completed. Both drivers approach the staging beams and leave the starting line. And it is Kalitta and Bradley side by side. Kalitta begins to pull away, and by a couple of car lengths at the finish line, Kalitta taking the win at 5.72 seconds. His speed topping 240 miles an hour. Connie Kalitta advances now into the semifinals of Top Fuel competition at the U.S. Nationals. This is the fastest driver ever in the history of Top Fuel racing. This is Joe Amato. He has been over 264 miles an hour, but at this event, he holds the distinction of recording the lowest elapsed time at 5.46 seconds thus far. This pairing once again matches the relative newcomer, Joe Amato, against the cagey veteran, a man with over 20 years experience in fuel racing, Gene Snow. Snow laid out of the sport for several years, then came back with this highly competitive Top Fuel dragster. Let's go once again down to Steve.
Connie, a 5.72 gets you through the second round, but I know you'd like to have gone quicker.
Yeah, I need to. Amato's going to run awful quick right now. He run 46 earlier today, and I mean, that's a stout number here. That's the quickest run here, I think, in quite a while.
If Amato gets through this round, you'll face him in the semi?
I run him next round, and the lane choice is very important here right now. We're shaking very bad in the right-hand lane, and I backed the car off because I didn't know for sure it was my race car or not, but it looks like it's the track that's doing it.
It's not your particular race car that's suffering that problem?
No, in the first round, just about everybody in the right-hand lane shook very hard. The only one that didn't was Miner that got down there very good.
Okay, well, let's go back to the starting line and see if indeed it'll be Connie Kalitta and Joe Amato in the semis.
Steve, in this case, Joe Amato taking the near lane, or the lane that Connie says is better. For Gene Snow, he has to cope with the problem. Not only will the engine perform up to par, will the lane hold the horsepower? What appears to be a little smoke coming out of Snow's car. Could it be problem? And up in smoke goes Amato. He loses traction right off the starting line. And the upset of this round of racing, Gene Snow, the veteran, 5.62 seconds. His speed over 240 miles an hour. The semifinals, Larry Miner against Don Garlits, Connie Kalitta against Gene Snow, as we'll be coming right back to the U.S. Nationals.